Hey guys, we're moving on to video 2 of canning your tomatoes. What we've done is we went ahead and processed all of our tomatoes and got everything set up. We're going to can just one jar for you because we have so many, you'd be sitting here forever. So what I've done is I've set up the basic setup for you to watch and see what we do. Now, when I can basic tomatoes, I like to peel them, and I like to take the core out, and I like to cut them into quarters. So you can see basically how that turns out once you do that. So I had the whole tomatoes, and I just take them and I slice them up, and I leave them in their own juice. And it is amazing how much juice and water you get. So I can my tomatoes, not in water necessarily, but in their own juice, because I like to use these for if I want to make my own marinara, if I want to make oh my goodness, if I want to add it to soup, something that's huge in my soups. It's like having your own homegrown can of your stewed tomatoes, if you will. So this is how you can these. If you have never canned before, the first thing that I learned how to can was with tomatoes. Tomatoes, maybe a simple jam or like a pear butter or some type of apple butter or pear butter, or making basic pickles, because that's pretty simple, because all of those items are using a water bath. We are not using pressure, we're simply using a water bath. Now, we're not going to be indoors doing that, we're just simply taking it outside and going to be processing more jars, if you will, than what you see on an indoor canner. So that's where we're going to lead to next. But up until then, I'm going to show you simply how to do your tomatoes. It's going to get messy, so just expect it. And, you know, I like to do mine in stages, process it, clean up a little bit, because it just helps keep you a little bit more organized. So I use quart jars. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole ordeal of why we do what we do in canning. I'm going to encourage you to educate yourself. Get that book that I told you about. It is the Ball Canning book. It's fantabulous. Okay? There's a lot of sources online that will tell you the hows and whys and don'ts and do's. So I'm just going to jump into it, and I may not use the exact definition or terminology that you would read in a book, but honey, we're moving on. Okay, so I use the quart jars. Some folks use larger than that, but this works for me for my pantry. You will figure that out as you go. When you're canning, if you make a certain item that your family just loves, for example, I learned very quickly when I am canning apple butter, don't do it in the little jelly jars. Do it in the larger pint jars, because we go through it so fast anyway, it saves me the lids and the time. So you'll figure that out as you go. So you just have to start somewhere. But anyway, I just got this. Now some folks, you should know that when you are using the jars and the lids and the rings, they have to be hot, okay? They need to be warm and very clean and sterile. Some folks do that with the oven, some folks do that with their stovetop. I do that with my dishwasher. If I have modern technology, I'm taking full advantage of it, okay? So I wash my jars as I'm prepping whatever I'm prepping in the dishwasher. Get them good and clean. I check them. They're steamed hot, whatnot. So this has just come out of the dishwasher. In fact, it's hot. And so all the rest of them that I'm going to be using are still in there. So I grabbed one. In the meantime, you're going to be having your lid, this is in boiling, almost boiled water. You want it to get hot as well, okay? Here's your little magnet. You can buy kits, okay? You can buy kits that give you all the tools that you'll need. Your colander and your all of the cool little tools that you're going to use, the spatula and this. You can buy those in the canning section at Walmart, at Lowe's, any of your different stores like that, okay? So all I'm going to do, hot, clean jar, put that there. Now I'm probably going to make a mess, so I like kind of a chunky, thick, quartered tomato in the juice. I also know that when I process this, it's going to cook it a whole lot more, and it's going to make it even more soupy. So, you know, I don't mind it being chunky. I know what I use this for marinaras and in soups and meatloaves and goulash. So it's that thick, stewed-like tomato, and that's what we prefer, and that's what this round is. I go through this the quickest, if I'm speaking correctly. I go through this I run out of tomatoes faster than anything that I can, every single time, even faster than apple butter. That's hard to believe, but we do. Because we use them in so much. Now, you want to fill this up. You want to leave yourself about a 1/2 inch space there. So I bring it up somewhere around through that rim right there. I've never had trouble with that. Okay, boom, there's that. Then for your tomatoes, now you can use real lemon. I sort of just do this. With this, you want to do about 2 tablespoons per quart. Now that's going to vary. If you do pints, you know, it's going to be less. Ball Canning Book's going to tell you. And then, of course, 1 teaspoon, approximately, of salt. You know, it's, again, that salt, well, if you're not exact, I wouldn't stress, okay? And you're just going to plop that in there. Now, some folks just flip the spoon over and use the end of it, but, or, to be technical, they use this little cool spatula. And the reason, it's not just to mix the salt and the lemon in with the tomato and the tomato juice, but it's to release the air bubbles. And you're going to find that you're going to do that with just about everything you can. Or at least everything I can. There's still a lot of things I haven't done. So I just sort of work that around for a few, couple times. Bring it out. This may be, the next step may be your most important step. You want to use a clean dish towel, rag. I use paper towels. I go through several of them. Get it good and wet in warm water. And you're going to want to wipe the rim. This is still really warm. Wipe the rim. I actually go inside a little bit, around it a couple of times. You want to get that good and clean so that when it seals, you're not going to have that issue. Okay? All right, next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your hot lid. These are to be hot. You don't put them in the water. I boil the water, make it really hot, and then I plop them in there. Okay? And then I just set it down. Now this is a regular mouth jar. This is not wide mouth. Okay? That's it. From that point, you would process however many you're making. I'm going to hopefully do about 12, I hope, at least, in this first run. And then you're going to place them in your water bath. So that will be the next moment. So that's pretty much it. Again, get your Ball Canning book, get your different books. There's your tomatoes. The hardest part is behind you once you have processed the tomatoes, skinned the tomatoes, maybe quartered the tomatoes. Once you get to this point, it goes by very fast. So I hope this helped. This is video 2, and we'll just keep on moving along. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.